My stepson wants his real dad to be best man. Fine. Then let your real dad pay for your dream wedding. Hi everyone, throwaway account because my girlfriend and her son use Reddit too. I, 52 male, have been with my girlfriend Linda, 48 female, for 12 years. She has one son, Evan, 25 male, who's getting married this December. The wedding has basically consumed my household for the past 8 months. I swear, every dinner conversation, every weekend, and every errand has somehow revolved around floral arrangements, catering menus, or the color of napkins. Evan's mom, Linda, my girlfriend of 12 years, has been glued to her iPad scrolling through Pinterest boards like it's her full-time job. We've lived together for over a decade, and while we never got married ourselves, we've built a home, raised her kid together, and managed a pretty peaceful life. Or so I thought. Evan was 10 when I met him. His biological father, Tom, was always in and out of the picture, popping up once every few years with some excuse about getting back on his feet. I didn't try to replace him. I just filled in the gaps, quietly. When Evan wanted braces, I paid for them. When he got into that private high school, I paid the tuition. When he needed a car to get to his part-time job, I bought a used Toyota for him. When he went off to college, I covered the full 4 years, about $70,000 in total between tuition, housing, and other costs. Tom? He never paid a cent, never sent a card, never called on birthdays, never helped when Evan's mom struggled to pay bills. Still, Evan adored him. Whenever Tom reappeared, Evan would act like it was Christmas morning. He'd talk about how much his dad has changed and how he's really trying this time. And every single time, Tom would vanish again, leaving Evan heartbroken. So fast forward to now, wedding season. Evan graduated last year, hasn't found a stable job yet, and still lives with us. I offered to pay for most of the wedding because, well, I wanted to do something meaningful for him. Linda and I agreed that since I'd been the one raising him for the past decade, it would be a nice gesture. You know, the father figure helping his kid start his own family. We booked a nice venue, nothing crazy, but still expensive. I fronted the deposits for the photographer, the DJ, catering, and even the rehearsal dinner. Between everything, I was on the hook for about $45,000. Everything seemed fine until about 2 weeks ago. I ran into a friend of mine, Paul, at the golf course. I had told him months earlier to save the date because he and his wife were on my personal guest list of 15-20 people I wanted invited. So I asked him, "You still coming to the wedding, right?" He looked at me confused and said, "Oh, I didn't get an invitation. I just got one of those announcement cards." He had it in his car. I asked to see it. Sure enough, it was one of those generic "we're getting married" notices, and it listed Tom, last name, and Linda, last name, as the parents of the groom. My name? Completely missing. I just stood there staring at the card. It didn't even say hosted by the family or anything like that. Just Tom and Linda. The man who hadn't paid a penny toward his own son's upbringing was apparently now being recognized as the proud father of the groom, while I, the one footing the entire bill, didn't exist. I got home, waited until after dinner, and asked Linda about it. She said it was probably a printing mistake, but after some pushing, she admitted that my 20 guests didn't make the final list because space was limited and they had to prioritize family. Family? I asked. The family who abandoned him? That didn't go over well. She told me that if some people didn't respond, I might get to add a few of my friends later, as if that was some kind of consolation prize. That was the ultimate slap in the face. Then came Sunday dinner. It was supposed to be a nice little get-together with the bride's parents, Linda and me, and Evan. But when we arrived, there was a surprise guest sitting at the table. Yep, Tom. Apparently, he just happened to be in town. We sat down and it was awkward as hell. Everyone was polite, smiling through the tension, pretending nothing was weird. Then halfway through dinner, Evan stood up and said, "I have some great news. My dad's going to make it to the wedding, and he's going to be my best man." Everyone clapped. Linda smiled through tears. Tom beamed like a hero returning from war. Meanwhile, I was sitting there feeling like someone had just punched me in the chest. I took a few deep breaths. I wasn't sure if I wanted to cry or flip the table, But I knew if I didn't say something, I'd explode later. So I stood up, glass in hand, and said, "I'd like to make a toast." Everyone smiled politely and raised their glasses. "It's been my great pleasure to be a part of this family for the last 12 years, I began. I've watched Evan grow up, graduate, and become the man he is today. Nods and murmurs of approval. And now, thanks to recent events, I've realized something very important. I've learned that my role in this family isn't what I thought it was." Smiles started fading. "I used to think of myself as the father figure here, the person everyone could rely on for support, love, and guidance. But it turns out my role was something a bit more transactional." Tom's smile froze. "So since I've been replaced as father of the groom, both in the ceremony and in spirit, I think it's only fair that I also pass on my financial duties to my worthy successor." I raised my glass toward Tom. "Congratulations, and good luck with the bill." Then I finished my drink, put the glass down, and walked out. The silence behind me was deafening. That night, I transferred every cent out of our joint account. The next morning, I called every vendor and canceled my payments. I lost about $1,200 in non-refundable deposits, but every other vendor was kind enough to issue refunds. When Linda woke up and saw the bank account, she lost it, said I was being vindictive and selfish. I told her the only selfish people in the room were the ones expecting me to bankroll an event I wasn't even invited to participate in. She spent the day sulking, showing me the wedding planner, crying over how much work I'd ruined. I flipped through it just to humor her and found the father-son dance section. Every single song on that list was one that Evan used to play with Tom. That's when it hit me. They never saw me as family, just the guy footing the bill. I laughed, actually laughed out loud. Then I handed her the planner and said, "You and your son can move out whenever you're ready." Update 1. Linda and Evan have since moved out. They're staying with the bride and groom in their new apartment until the wedding. I changed the locks and poured myself a beer. Apparently, Tom backed out again. Something came up, according to Linda. I heard they're scrambling to downsize the wedding because now they can't afford half the vendors. Linda texted me last night saying, "Can't you at least help Evan one last time? Family forgives." I replied, "Family does. ATMs don't." And that's the last message I've sent. Do I feel guilty? Maybe a little. But I also feel free, because at the end of the day, love without respect isn't family. It's charity. And I'm done giving.